from Pattaya, Thailand, with your host, Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
And welcome to Pattaya, welcome to Thailand, and of course, welcome to Talking Heads podcast. Today, weekend, Bobby, it's Friday. It's gone so quick.
It has. We had a double header yesterday.
We did. We had some great time in the studio. And today we're set to have a great time again and find out some information that a lot of people like to know.
Brian in the house.
And Brian's in the house. Brian Flowers, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Yep. Do you like the living room that we've decorated?
Yes, it's very nice. I've seen it so many times watching your show.
Thanks a lot. It's nice to have you in the studio, and it's nice for you to take the time out and come in here and chat with us. We are very honoured, and of course it's
we are.
It's
Brian is an icon.
He is, and we've got to say thank you very much to everybody that subscribed to the channel yesterday. There was loads of you, okay, who watched the videos yesterday. There was loads of you. Please subscribe more, okay. Ring the bell for notifications, and we will send you the newsletter straight out. But Mr. Brian Flowers in the house. What do you think? Nice, yes? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm very ready, yes.
As we say on the fair, this could be a bumpy ride.
That's okay. We're ready.
Talking Heads podcast.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's go right to the beginning, Brian. Of course, the only way to start is right at the beginning. Of course, where was you born, sir? I mean, where are you from?
I was born in Coventry, which is in the middle of England.
And so from there, schooling?
Yeah, I did secondary school, and then after I went to college and I dropped out of college, and then I went to uni and I dropped out of uni also because I wanted to live in Thailand.
So that was at what age? I mean, what age are you thinking about moving over to Thailand?
I first came here when I was 23, and then I dropped out of uni, and then I came to live here when I was 25.
So did you, in the UK, did you do any other jobs in the UK? Did you have a job in the UK, or did you just bum it?
Yeah, what I was doing is I was selling stuff online, and I was doing stuff on eBay, and back then it was very easy.
Very good, yeah.
And then I was even selling ebooks, and I was making a little bit of money. And then I was making so much money that I decided to go to uni just to hang around and just do as little as possible. So I looked at the unis with the most skills in, and Worcester was number 2, and Worcester was the nearest to my parents' house. So I moved there, and then I was close to my parents just in case.
So, okay, getting a bit of money, going to the uni. Did you really learn anything all there, or did you do, like you say, not too much?
No, I was going out 4 times a week, but that's why I went to uni. And then I was still getting my exams in. But on our first holiday, after the first year, I said to my friend, we watched the beach movie, and then we came to Thailand and we followed the trail. And then I just said, I'm not going back to uni, I'm going to stay here. And then as I was here for 3 months, my income was just completely collapsing because back then I was young and stupid. I just thought incomes would last forever.
We've all done that, young and stupid. You've been young and stupid, Bobby.
I've been there before, and I go there sometimes again still.
Yeah, we all go. Even now, today, we still go back there and have a go, don't we? I would imagine you're the same. I mean, you said what, the film, The Beach, is that what you was on about, yeah?
Yeah, we watched that, and then we went to Koh Phangan.
Koh Phangan, nice island.
And then everyone said, don't come to Pattaya, don't go there, it's filthy, it's disgusting. So then I got the next plane out to Pattaya when my friend left.
Really put you off then?
Yeah, I wanted to see what it was all about.
Don't go there, it's really dirty. I tell you what, can you just book me a ticket now, please? You got to, haven't you? I mean, today, of course, we're going to talk about a lot of things that you're into and you've got and you've done. But I mean, at the moment, of course, so what are your what would you say are your interests and skills? I mean, let's go from the list I've got here, because I've got quite a few bits and questions and people have wrote into me. Psychologically and all that, psychologically, investing, trading, writing, websites. I mean, what are your interests?
I love
and why?
I love psychology. I love watching Jordan Peterson, and there's other channels out there as well, because I think business is all about psychology, sales, running businesses. What happened with trading and investing is I went on a trading course for about a year. And then I just thought, with my financial situation being okay, I don't need to trade. I can just invest like Warren Buffett. And I was using different styles from different YouTubers. Yeah. So I went from doing trading on crypto to doing long-term investing.
And how does that work? I mean, I would imagine you took some losses like everybody does, and you win a bit. I mean, did it balance itself out? Did you give in the end, or did that really work, or did you think or did you find out that it was harder than you thought it was going to be?
No, the investing worked out very well. Even it was going to be long term, so I was just buying in at the right level, over 50 different stocks and shares, and even with COVID being forced to sell out, I still made a profit, even though I had to sell everything to get by.
So it worked out. Do you still do that today, or are you out of that now?
I've sold everything. I sold my crypto at 20% loss because I was buying in at probably the wrong time, way after everyone else had bought in. I was buying on the way down. But with the financial situation at the moment, I just sold it, and I just can't afford to wait any longer.
What's it like at the moment, Bob? Do we know that? What's the crypto like at the moment? Do you know that? Is it bottomed out in the current situation?
It's just bobbing up and down at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just going sideways.
I've never been into it. I know people that have, and they've come in at small and they've won big, and I know people that have come in at big and gone out at a loss. So, like you say, probably bobbing around. Now, it says here some of your interest, of course, which I like, is... writing. This what makes you happy, yes? Writing. I mean, I've seen your website. I've seen a lot of stuff that you write. I mean, what do you get out of that?
I think I just don't talk too much during the day. I stay at home a lot, and I have all these thoughts, and I have opinions on a lot of things, and I don't write them down because I don't want to cause problems. But sometimes I have some opinions that I can write down, and then...
You mean writing them down? You mean writing them down so people can see them, or do you mean writing them down on a pad at home for yourself?
Just like writing down just to try and teach people mistakes I've made before. I did a lot of business writing about bars and stuff, and then I realised I was just causing problems for myself all the time.
Well, you're always going to get people out there. If you write down your experience, right, which it is, it's your experience. If you've had a go at something and you've written something down, there's going to be people that like that. There's going to be haters, and you're going to make people laugh, and you're going to piss people off as well. So you can't win. It doesn't matter what you do. I mean, I think writing it down and sharing it with the world is great because you just have to take the rough with the smooth. So I mean, and sometimes you write something down that can inspire people. So I mean, I would probably put more out there.
Yeah, I do inspirational stuff on my main website, and that website's for me, not so much for other people. That's just a practice. But I've had a situation before where a friend of mine wanted to buy a bar, and I said, well, why don't you pay me and I'll help you? And then he pulled out this checklist that I'd already done online, and he was like, I've got your checklist here, and that's how I've been buying bars. And I just said, yeah, but you're missing a lot. Right now I've been through about 30, 40 contracts, but I've never exited a business before. So we just exited 5, and I learned a load of whole new legal things and problems that I never expected.
But if you've got some, I mean, we'll get onto the bars and Nightwish and all that a little bit later on in the chat. But if you've got something or somebody like yourself who's learnt from the thing, has had experiences, good and bad, which you learn from, okay? And if you've got a piece of paper in front of you with 12 things on it and 3 of them are wrong, isn't that right that you point them out and say, excuse me, but these are wrong and we need to change this? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, the problem is it's like law, everything's custom. With some bars, you would say that I was mad for signing such a contract with certain terms, but if that's the only place that is available at the time, sometimes the landlord said if there's a fire, then you get thrown out instantly. It doesn't say how big the fire is. And really, you'd be mad to sign that. You could argue.
Absolutely. A bit of paper in the ashtray and that's it, you're out.
Yeah, but, if that's the only place that's available, then try and negotiate about insurance or just try and get a definition on it or try and get them to remove it.
I like it. And one of the things you have done, which of course interests me as well, is you've been into websites and marketing. I mean, that's one of the things you did. I mean, you like the SEO inside of it as well, yes? Yeah,
I did SEO full time, and then I created Pattaya Addicts 14 years ago, which is the reason why I am who I am today. That gave me the opportunity with Baz. And then I started the news website because I can do it all myself. And then we've got Pattaya Unplugged underneath the Nightwish brand, which me and AJ and another guy called Paul work on. So, yeah, I've been doing websites for the last 10, 15 years.
I mean, Pattaya Addicts itself, I mean, it has over, 150,000 members now, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of accounts are probably expired, but we have about 3,500, 4,000 people every day looking at it. And people say to me, why didn't Facebook kill it? I said, because people can be anonymous on there. The subjects that people are talking about, they don't really want their family and friends to find out.
Don't you always find it? I mean, regardless of what you do, and we're going to cover a lot of ground today of what you have done and are doing, but don't you always find it funny when people message you and say you can't do that, but they're not even in the game? You know, that they're probably some guy that's a mechanic in the bottom of Australia. Let's just say Australia. He's a mechanic in Australia, but he's trying to tell you how to run your business. Don't you find that sort of like strange, funny, or what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, we get a lot of guys trying to teach us how to run bars. We used to have this problem with managers when they first start. They want to implement their own ideas, and then we have to fight them and try and explain how we did things wrong before. I even haven't had bar owners, tell me we can't do this and that. But we get our information from people higher up, and we're always like double checking, and even things like making sure the girl's the right age. We have 5 people that check that. Some people just have one, and then they forget, and then you've got a 17-year-old in the bar.
Yeah.
And it could happen to anyone where a girl's 17.
Got a fake ID.
Yeah, and it's happened to 2 business owners, and everyone's calling them paedophiles, but I know that it's genuine, and I feel sorry for them.
Absolutely.
It was fake ID. It could have been us.
You love the business side of it. I know you do, because I know you. I mean, I've known you a while, and I know you like the challenge. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always right all the time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong all the time. I know that you like a challenge. I know that you're hard working. I mean, looking at your failures and your positives and your negatives. I mean, what would you say to yourself? Would you say, I just like steaming ahead and doing my best and putting 100% into it, and if it doesn't work, so what? Is that the way you think?
The problem is when you've got a good idea, everyone's telling you it's a bad idea. So when you do have a good idea, you just don't know. I say that I'm going to buy a bar, and everyone says it's a bad idea, and it is a bad idea if you're the wrong type of person. And then I say I'm going to buy a bar next door, and I'm going to buy more bars, and then everyone's saying it's a bad idea. But when I started the forum, everyone told me not to bother. It's a waste of time, because the other 2 forums were large. When I came to Thailand with 30,000 baht, everyone was saying to me, this is ridiculous. You've got no money. You're going to go over there with 30,000 baht. You're going to fail. Yeah,
I like that. You came over, actually, you came over with 100 quid more than me, which I'm very jealous about. He came over with £600. I came over with 500. Wow. So I'm a bit gutted about that. You beat me on that one.
Well, you probably beat me anyway, because I had the forum under my belt when I came here. So even though it's only like 600, 700 pounds,
I had zero.
I had the forum with 3,000 members.
Good start. Yeah, I mean, when I came when you came here to Pattaya the first time, you went down to the beach, you went down to the Kokamban at the island. When you came to Pattaya for the first time, what did you do here? Besides the obvious, of course. I mean, what did you do?
I was just out partying every night.
Yeah. But can I say this? I mean, you gained a lot of weight, didn't you? You gained a lot of weight,
yeah.
and you've worked at this a lot, haven't you? I mean, for people that don't know, Bobby, I mean, how many kilo were you, Bri?
I went up to 136 kilograms.
136 kilo. I mean, he was ballooned. If you see a picture, and that's no disrespect to you, Bri, you know that. He was ballooned, but he worked at it. He looked at himself and went, shit, look at me, look where I am. And you worked at it, didn't you? And you worked and you brought yourself down and you trained, didn't you? Because you was doing a lot of things, weren't you?
Yeah, that the photo that I put online to show how fat I was, at the time I was suffering from heart failure, and that's why I was extra bloated. So even though I was 136 kilogram, I reckon 10 kilogram of that was water. But people always, said to me that they identified me as a fat person, but I said I wasn't fat when I came in. I was weight training and doing all sorts before. But then you just get in a rut, especially if you're working a lot. And
also if you're partying.
Yeah, and then I've even put some weight back on because I had a major operation in March, and then I haven't really been able to exercise. You've
had. Can we say this? I mean, you've had a few complications, haven't you?
Yeah, well, that was the end of it, I think.
Yeah,
they just take the bag off my heart. They just took all the skin off, and that was turned to calcium. So
now you're on recovery.
Yeah, I can start back Muay Thai in November, but that should clear up my liver because the doctor said I had cirrhosis, and I've been to about 11 hospitals.
Right.
And I just said I don't have cirrhosis, and they're just saying, well, your liver's big, and and I just said I think it's my heart, and they kept on testing my heart, and then they said that we can't find a problem, and then in March, my liver and my kidneys were so bad they just said, go home and just take care of yourself a bit more. And I just says, I can't accept this. So I went back the next day and checked my heart.
Well, as you know, I've had the heart. I've got the stent. I've had my kidneys at 70% now, and I've had a stroke on the right hand side. So I'm 50% right now. Yeah, is that all right, Bobby? I'm 50%.
You're doing great, man. I'm proud of you.
You're right. You're right to persevere and go back and say you don't feel it's right, because I mean, my first one with my heart, mine was only because of a friend who fell over and fainted. And then they found out that he had a blockage on his heart, and I went, I tell you what, I'll go get mine checked, just as a laugh. And suddenly I find out that I'm 75% blocked on the left-hand side. So if you don't, they call it it's like the killer disease that you don't know about, isn't it? It's the silent death. That's what they call it.
That's why when I first had heart problems, I had breathing problems, and I thought, that's just because of maybe I'm sick or something, and I was going to get a nebulizer. And what a lot of guys don't realise is that the breathing problems could be their heart. It's not because they're smoking.
Absolutely.
And I hear guys gasping for breath sometimes, and I feel like saying to them, have you checked your heart? Because it sounds like you've got a problem. But that's why I was writing about heart problems a lot, to raise some awareness about it.
I still use that today. I still use a nebulizer. I use the Ventolin, as you can see. I've got the nebulizer at home, which I use regularly because it's good for me. And hopefully, in a few weeks' time, we're going to have Dr. Monroe come onto the show with me, which is the guy that saved me, basically, and did all my heart for me and that. So he's going to come on and tell us all about the vascular and everything that happens with the heart. Pretty interesting, that one, yeah?
That's amazing.
You've got to tune in for that one, because he's a great guy. But it's nice to see you, and you're looking healthier. Definitely. So keep on. One thing I do like about on your website that I've had a quick glance over, and that is, of course, you've got some mentors on there. Mentors in the way of what? People you look up to or follow?
Well, a lot of those ones are out of date at the moment, because there was a lot of guys that I was following, and then, they've always got like one or two messages. And then once you've seen, their YouTube channel for half a year, you've learned everything, and some of them are up to no good. But the one that sticks out from all of it is Jordan Peterson. He's so emotional, and he's so switched on about human beings, and he sees all the problems in people and how to fix people. I just find all that fascinating.
Do you over the period of time so far? I mean, how long have you been here now in Thailand now?
I've been living here 12 years now.
12 years. So in 12 years, you've done a lot. I mean, you've met a lot of people, and of course, you've employed people and all this. I mean, is there any part of you that sometimes feels really let down by people, really let down by what you're putting all your heart into it, but they're not putting anything the way they should be doing? They take it for granted. Can I say that? Is that okay? If you get what I mean, you're trying to nurture them, you're trying to help them, but they don't help themselves.
I feel a lot of frustration, because I understand, the way people are and how they got there. When you understand why someone's bad, it could be their parents, it could have been their uncle. When you understand all those things, you start to have a bit more sympathy for people.
You have compassion.
But I feel that, but I feel frustrated that some people just don't listen, or they don't learn. But then I look at myself, and I've been the same.
I think we all have, right? Is the honest answer. I mean, it's just that over the years. Same with me, you try and nurture people, you try and encourage people to do things, and then suddenly, how are you doing? Well, I'm at home watching the TV. Well, nobody's going to come and knock on your door and hand you a big bag of money. You've got to get out there. You've got to do what you've got to do, and there's only so far you can go with people. No, wouldn't you agree with that?
There is, yeah. But if you, I don't know if you know Robert Greene. He's wrote so many books, and they're just gold to me. I've read all of them, and if you ask someone to read all those books, their life would be so much better. But I get frustrated because people won't spend that time. Yeah, and there's no excuse about not reading. I download them on Audible, and I listen to them at 1.5 speed in my car. So I'm not wasting my time. But there's just so many tools in there, because we need tools to fix all our little relationships around, and fix the people in our life, and fix ourselves.
And sometimes it's only a little tool that needs to tweak something, and you end up with a different person.
Yeah, because sometimes people just want to be listened to. There's a lot of people not listening to people now. They're just looking at their phone. But if you just spend some time listening to someone instead of telling them what to do.
We spoke about this the other day on a show, and we were talking about exactly what you're talking about now. I looked in a restaurant not so long ago, and I looked over at a family of 4, yeah? And all 4 were sitting at the table looking at their phones, where, you know, if you took those phones away, you might end up with a family conversation, yeah? That we used to do in the old days. And it's just, there's a famous photographer. You remember, Bobby, we spoke about it? A famous photographer did a person or some people doing selfies with their phones. And then he took the face, said, stay there. And then he took the phones away. And then he took the picture. So then he showed the people the picture, and they went, I look like an idiot. I've got my hand in the air like this. Nothing in the hand. There's no phone. I've just got my hand in the air like this. And all these people just looked at it in a different way, didn't they? They just went, we look at a load of idiots. He says, well, that's what you do look like, with a phone in your hand. The old days, conversation. I mean, you know, like you say, people need to be listened to. And I think today that doesn't happen.
Well, people are being more sociable ever than I think, but they're just doing it in a different way. I see my son, and he's on, you know, a server, and he's talking, and it's just... my dad would be like, get him off the computer. But I say, it depends what he's doing on the computer.
Absolutely.
If he's on games, he's problem solving. There's some YouTubers out there that are just not adding value to his life at all.
True.
But I just say to him, like, at least spend some time watching something, you know, even if it's just a polite series that's a bit older for him. The level of English will bring him up a little bit.
We've got a rule that they have to watch an hour. Or my son has to watch an hour of something, be it spelling, be it maths, be it something. I mean, he's only 10, but at least he can do that.
That's a good rule.
And his reward is that he can watch what he wants after that. So that's probably a good thing. But it doesn't happen a lot. And there's a lot of people out there that are not sort of like strong in the way of like taking the phones off them, is there?
Yeah, and you've got to. I find every 3 days you have to just take it off him completely, because his behaviour, he just assumes that he can have it whenever he wants.
Does he have a tantrum?
Well, he'll just say, well, I'm going to go on my computer then. And then I'll say, well, I'll unplug the internet, or I'll stop you from using it. And then now he just runs after our new son, you know.
The one thing I did like was the one of your mentors was Tom Corley, which, if I can just read the extract from it, was interviewed 233 self-made millionaires and found that 88% of them read educational self-development books for at least 30 minutes a day. I fall asleep reading this, he says. I use audiobooks, namely audible.com, around 2 to 3 hours per day. Still doing that?
No, I'm not doing that at the moment. I'm back on doing stuff on YouTube at the moment.
Now you've got a lot of, before we go on to the night wish and different things and the bars that you've got, I mean, you've got a lot of things happening in the way of websites. I mean, you've got your own website, haven't you? I mean, you've got the Brian Flowers website. I mean, what do you try and do on there? What is that there for? Surely that's not there to say, it's me, look at me, look at me, look at me. That's there to help people, yes?
Originally, I wanted to do coaching because I love helping people. And then I looked at other coaches, and it was like, well, I need to put my face out there, and I need to do all this branding. And I don't really like all that, to be honest, but I just put like my photo up there, and then I put a picture of Mike Tyson, and I just thought I was just trying to attract some people. But part of me, it's not about money, it's about fixing people. This would be my dream job, is to, call someone at 6 a.m. and just like, get out of bed and do this, what are you doing today? And I've got like lists of goals at home, and then I can schedule each hour. Sometimes if I've got a mission to do, I'll schedule every hour in the day, and then I've got a goal list in front of me, and then I've got everything organised every day.
Is this for? This is not monetary terms you're talking of, is it? This is self-satisfaction and feeling good in yourself, yes?
Yeah, I've always got loads of projects on. Like I want to write a book, and then I want to make some videos, and I've just got all these jobs written down, and it stresses me out. So then I say, okay, well, if I do an hour of this every day, and then I plan it, and then I can just make sure that the first 2 hours of my day I get the most boring and the most important thing done, and then after the first 2 hours, I can continue with my day and I can relax a little bit more.
We had Amanda, didn't we? Amanda Williams in here and Paul Strachan, and they do the same thing. They're online for people, and they're helping people that are depressed and want help, and they do a great job, don't they?
Yeah, she's pretty inspirational.
Yeah, she's with Tony Robbins, yeah?
Yeah, she trained with Tony Robbins.
She trains with Tony Robbins, so I mean, you know the guy. I mean, and what she says about, you know, every day she's like you, she's got a schedule, she eats, she does yoga, the fitness, the helping the people online, she does all this, and I can see where it comes from, and I mean, I can understand where you're coming from in. Sometimes when you want to help people, Bri, it doesn't come out the right way. Yeah, I mean, people take you wrong. You know, oh well, I'm only trying to help him. I'm trying to get him to a better level. No, you're not. You're trying to do this. There's always going to be haters. There's always people for, and there's always people against. You know, it's how you deal with that. That, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, even me helping someone's selfish because I'm doing it to make myself feel better. So, but you know, I always say wait for someone to come to you, because if you chase them, they're just going to run away. And it's only, I've had some friends in serious trouble with money, and it's like when they're really sick of it, I'll know, because they're out there trying to sell things. There's always sales jobs out there. There's always. But there's no point asking someone that can't be bothered to, you know, change their life and do something.
Well, sometimes in some rare occasions you are, as we say in the UK, flogging a dead horse. It's a no-brainer. It's a dead end, and you know that's what you have to decide in yourself. But of course, if you can try and do your utmost best to help somebody, and you know that you've done your best, then to you that's self-satisfaction. You know, don't give a toss about what anybody else says.
Well, most humans don't change unless they get married or have a kid or they get divorced. They just
True.
kind of stay the same. So all the marketing companies are targeting, you know, women that are having a baby, because then everything changes.
Absolutely.
And their behaviours change. But that's why a lot of people are surprised at what I've done, because I wasn't from a rich background. I've just kind of learned, and people say to me, why are you reading self-development books? They're rubbish. But it's like a daily medicine for me, just motivation, self-development. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I have to keep reminding myself, you know, you need to be better with this. You need to. You have to. Yeah, you have to. You know, listen. You're a father now. Yeah, you know, you've got a family now, so you have to have self-satisfaction.
You think differently when you're a parent.
Completely. You know, my friend here, I'm not going to say who he was, and he once sat down on some steps near City Hall with me. Well-known guy. He sat down and he says, "I've just found out that my wife to be is pregnant." He says, "What does it do for you, Dave?" I says, "You can forget everything you've done before, because you're just about to start a brand new life. It's going to change you forever." No, I'll stay the same. I can go out drinking. I can do this. I can do that. I says, no, it's not. I says, you're going to change completely. And you know what? After 2 months of having that baby, he rang me up and he says, you were right. It's changed my life forever, because suddenly you're not important. They're important. Your son's important. Your daughter's important. It's the things that you took for granted. No disrespect. Like going out, partying, spending money on beer, doing this, doing that, is great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. Enjoy yourselves. Do it, but when you do it and you're married, it's moderation, or you don't do it at all. But you think twice. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of guys say to me that I've done a great job of going from having heart failure to getting completely fit. And they just say, well done, that they wouldn't have done it. But I said, if you had a kid, you would have.
Absolutely.
You know, having that kid running around 4 years old, and the doctor says, well, you might die soon.
Yep.
I just look at that kid and I think, right, I said to my missus, I need to lose weight. I need to stop drinking. I need to change my life. I need to try and pay off some debts. And then I started saying, right, let's buy more bars. Let's try to get to a level where if I do die, then at least my family have some money.
I think if you can be at peace with yourself, and you can be truthful with yourself and be where you want to be in yourself, yeah? It doesn't matter what people think. People are always going to think good, and they're always going to think bad. It doesn't matter what you do. But if you listen to everybody around you, and everybody says, oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, for me, that just makes me want to do it. Because if you listen to the guys who are saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and I say, well, what are you doing? Oh, well, I print this, or I'm a road sweeper, or I sell hot dogs or hamburgers. But what are you telling me not to do this for? That's a multi-dollar business, and you're doing that. I mean, how do you know? Where's your education from?
If everyone thought it was a good idea, it would have been done already. So when you have a new idea, most people are saying it's a bad idea. That's why it hasn't been done.
But the people but this is where you come in, Brian, because if you say to them, hey, you know what, guys, I've got this idea. What do you think, guys? And they go, bad idea, bad idea, bad idea. Then they go out the door, then they go home and go, well, actually, what he said is, that's a really good idea. I think we could do that. That's what they do. They suck the information out of you. They don't let you know that you're giving them information. They suck it out of you, Bri, and then they take it home and then they do something, don't they, Bobby? Am I truthful or what?
You're truthful, but Brian, you're successful already.
Yeah, sure.
Your friends that are telling you, don't do this and don't do that, they're probably envious and jealous because you're kind of, you've done a lot of things before that have, earned you a beautiful living, and they're a little envious, I would think.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter what people think of you, okay? It doesn't matter how you got there, yeah, or where you are today. You got it. You didn't get it by sitting on your ass, yeah?
You're a hard worker.
You got out there. You worked hard at it. You made some mistakes. We all make mistakes, and you do the positives and the negatives, and you deal with everything. But look what you've got today and where you are. Okay, we're going to talk about the situation at the moment where we're at, but never ever look in the mirror and put yourself down, mate, because what you've achieved is great.
Yeah, I think a lot of mistakes that most people make is they ask themselves, would this be a good idea? And then they judge it by themselves and their own personal taste.
Exactly.
Whereas when you understand humans in general and you understand how people react and how we're all social creatures, and you forget your own personal opinion, because I'm an introvert, really. I'm not that sociable, but most people are sociable. So I have to think about the majority.
Do you think that you overthink things? Do you let things get to you? Do you overthink? Do you process things a lot in your head?
Yeah,
I'm
a big thinker, and I think about things a lot. But I'm an executor as well. I'm not just a thinker.
But I mean, do you take, if somebody said something bad about you, do you take it to heart? Do you process it for a lot of time in your head, or do you just go, okay?
It depends. I haven't had anything that's like really personal yet. So a lot of the stuff is just like, Nightwish Group destroy Soy 6.
That's what I'm going to ask. I mean, that's one thing I've got here from a couple of people that actually said.
Before we go into that, your voice really reminds me of Sacha Baron Cohen. Has anyone ever told you that?
No.
One of my favorite actors in the world.
He's my favorite actor.
Oh, he does, don't he? He does.
Doesn't he sound up?
Yeah. If I don't look at him, yeah. Speak, Baz. Just speak.
How's it going?
He does, doesn't it? All we need is the no.
Yeah, he can go into any character, man, and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
He went to Cambridge University, which...
There you go.
Wow.
You never know. You see, you never know. You could be the love child of
there you go.
He could be the love child.
He's a genius, in my opinion.
He is, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's so smart.
He's way ahead of the curve, that guy.
And he's got a second movie coming out soon, Borat 2.
Has he?
Oh, really?
Oh, we like that. We like that kind of stuff, don't we?
He's hilarious. He's so smart. He's amazing.
So, David Beckham.
I watched him on the 11 o'clock show when he first got famous.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's amazing. He can pull off a lot of things, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He goes really, really, really to the line, that guy, doesn't he? Beckham and Victoria? You remember that one? Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's good. I won't even go there, but, David Beckham and Golden Balls and all that, like, yeah, we won't even
Did
go
you see
there.
when he interviewed Donald Trump?
No.
He interviewed Donald Trump.
Did he?
And he had this idea for this really I think he was being Ali G, and he created this ice cream glove. You put a glove on before you eat ice cream, so when the ice cream cone melts, it doesn't drip on your hand.
Donald wasn't too fun in that one. He just kind of like, I'm out of time.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of time. I'm gone. I'm off. Let's talk about the people that have been messaging us, knowing that you were coming on the show. And, of course, we've got the fours, we've got the against, we've got the ups and the downs. One of them, of course, or one of the main questions that everybody had asked me and sent me messages on is, why did Brian Flowers destroy Soya 6?
Well, you could break it down a little bit. What I think they mean is, why did we open the bars? Brett's bar was the first bar to open, and that was open 12 years ago. And when I went down there, a load of us sat there because no one else was sitting outside the bars. They were just playing around. And then Quickie Bar half opened, and then the lady from Smoking Kisses started opening her bars a little bit. But because I brought Nightwish so much attention, Nightwish Bar, when I first opened it, people were saying you need to have like the back sofa left. And then I said, okay. So I opened it partially. We're full every day. And I thought, well, I just need to open a little bit more. But I didn't want to because of all the pressure off everyone. And then I opened it.
Pressure in what way, Brian?
People just saying like, oh, you should have the bars closed and we want this area in the back. But the area in the back doesn't help anyone so much. You know, guys like to have a bit of lonely time in there. But, you know, it's just for the amount of rent we're paying down there now, it's just that little space with one person sitting there buying drinks. It
takes up a lot of drinking space, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it kind of kills the atmosphere if you're having a party. And I think it's better that people can have their relation stuff elsewhere. And
But when they say, Bri, you destroyed Sawyer 6, I mean, where do they get that from? Is that because you brought more than one bar? I mean, why would they say this?
When I started the Save Soy 6 campaign on Pattaya Addicts, that was genuine. I was bringing bar crawls down there, and everyone was saying you're crazy. Like Soy 6 closes at 12 and it's dead. And I just looked at it, and I think Ruby Bar was doing well at the time, but in general it was just so quiet. And then I decided to buy a bar down there because every time I went down there, the bar was full because people knew me from the bar crawls and Pattaya Addicts. And then I just said, right, I'm going to buy Nightwish Bar. All of the neighbours attacked us every day. They were like causing us problems and signing petitions because I said I'm going to open till 3 a.m.
Do you think, just to stop you there, so you've got the Nightwish Bar, you're going to open late, do you think jealousy or what? I mean, what is it?
There's a lot of things, people sleep at 1 a.m. in some of the places. Okay. And then you've got like a couple of old people living 2 doors down there. They didn't care so much. But the 2 bars next door, they go upstairs and sleep after. And they were like, well, you're opening till 3 and you're waking us up. And then the guys opposite started saying, oh, that's Nightwish Group. They're busy because they're selling drugs. I mean, that's Nightwish Bar. And my manager at the time was Viking. And, you know, he's a big baby like me when we're having fun. And to say a guy like that's selling drugs. And I explained to these guys that we're not selling drugs. I've got a forum called Pattaya Addicts, and we've just got loads of people coming down. So because our bar was so busy, I said I want to get another one, and I had guys coming to ask to invest. And we did try to leave some bars closed, but it just doesn't work. Like Pussy Club, it was about 8,000 baht a day when the bar was closed, and then my partners at the time just says we need to have this one closed. You know, opening up is bad. And I just said the sales aren't enough. So I brought the builders down, and then they're just breaking the bar down, and they weren't very happy with me. But I said, well, this is what we need to do. And our sales doubled, the next day.
I mean, you can't be being down there and being in the heartbeat as we speak and say to people, what do you like, what don't you like? And of course, you surely, when you take a bar and it's taking 8 or 10 grand a day, and then suddenly you remodel it and you double or treble the takings, surely somebody around you has to say, well, actually, he was right.
Yeah, because it's not just about sales, it's having a good time, but the sales is the proof that it works.
Well, if you're having a good time, you're getting more sales.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes hand in hand.
Yeah, so like the sales go up is a indicator that what we're doing is we're doing what the market wants to do. If a market wants us to close the bars, we'll do it tomorrow. But people are sociable. They want to see up and down the soy. They want to see other people having a good time.
Well, this is where I can't sort of get it in my head. I mean, if you're going down there and you're opening this bar and you're opening that bar and you're increasing the bars down there, you're increasing the trade down there, you're increasing the foot to trade down there, you're making the place look better, more alive and everything. How can you have the people against you that you're trying to do this? I mean, it just or does that just stem from other people with other businesses jealous or whatever, or backstabbers or whatever you want to say?
No, I just think some people aren't the best versions of themselves. You know, some people, they've got no money, they're stuck in England, and here's this guy who they think that owns all these bars. But the truth is, I've got 6 other investors with me, and we've got managers that get percents, and we've got all these other staff. Like, we've got builders that are just working because we're always building, and we've got a whole aircon team that kind of work like subcontract with us, and all these guys are relying on us.
Absolutely. I mean, you're giving you've got people have got to realise as well. The positive side to it is you're giving a lot of people a lot of jobs, within the Nightwish group. I mean, one thing that you have on your side is management deals and ideas. I mean, how does that work with the management and the ideas? Do you have meetings, or how does that work?
I gave up on that idea. What the idea was is I was hoping a nightclub owner or maybe a big go-go will just say to us, look, we've had enough. We did have one go-go group approach us and say, we want you to run a go-go. And I said, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll run one first and then we can probably run the rest, but I just want to do one at a time. I've had a few offers like that, but it's just better that we own everything ourselves.
Which you do at the moment. I mean, how many bars currently are down on Soy 6?
We had 29, but we just walked away from 5.
So you're down to 24, yeah? Is that right? Am I right on that? 24
Yeah,
now.
23 on Soy 6.
23 on Soy 6. I mean, at the moment, the current situation is, of course, the way it is at the moment with COVID and what's happened around the world. If I sat in front of you and say it's not affected you, I'd be lying. And if you sat in front of me and said, I'm not affected, I'm not losing any money, everything's okay, you'd be lying. I mean, we know the situation, Brian. We're all savvy to this, Bobby at the end knows because he's got friends in the same trade. How's it affecting you as a Nightwish group?
Well, as a group, we like to start with, it was quiet Mondays and Tuesdays, and then now it's quiet like Mondays to Thursdays, and we have some days where we don't get one customer in until 7, 8 o'clock.
Sure.
So our sales are about 20%, and then we've got half those bars open, so half our bars are closed, and then we've got all sorts of landlords doing different deals with us.
Have they been, I mean, you don't have to say, but I mean, how have the landlords been? Have they been compassionate? Because we've had people on the show who spoke about them and they're saying some are, some not, how are you dealing with them?
It's mixed. Some of the landlords have been really bad, been pretty rude, and some landlords were good straight away. And some of the ones that we thought were worst landlords have been the nicest, and one of the landlords that I thought was our best has been the worst. So it's shown people up in some ways. Yeah,
I mean, they're still what, pulling their hand out and saying we want the rent and that's it? Even in this current situation, knowing what's going on?
Yeah, they are, and they don't care. They just says, well, this is a contract and you need to pay. The COVID's not our problem. And I say, well, it's not our problem. Can you share some pain? And every time my wife asks them for a discount, they just bombard her with phone calls, and they're rude to her, and they were rude to me. They just like, how dare you ask for a discount?
But doesn't it? I mean, I've got to ask this kind of question. So, if you found out that this landlord is like this, and you're adding up what you're paying every month for that venue, isn't it better to just lock it and walk away from it and save the money, or is it worth putting up with him? Is it worth putting up with that expense for that place?
Well, the bars down Soy 6 are anything between 2 and 3 million. So if we walk away from a bar just to save some rent, it doesn't make sense. I strongly believe that, maybe it could be December or March. I think things will bounce back, and just to close the bars and walk away, that landlord wants us to walk away because
you leave all your stuff. Yeah,
we've got 4 units with them. That's some good money for them.
Yeah. I can understand that. What is the current situation at the moment? So you've got how many open is currently? Did you say
13?
So it's 13 open at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's that'd make 11 closed. Is that right? 10 closed.
There's 24 bars, and it's 30. So 11 closed.
So 11 closed. What about the rest of people on Soy 6? Are they open or are they closed? Is it working down there?
I don't know how many have closed now, because there was more closing the other day. But we've spent a lot of money advertising. The BART buses, we had 51 BART buses.
I know you did, I remember.
We've got a lot of momentum, and we've got more gills than most people, and a lot of guys try to flick from salary to freelance, and we're seeing a lot of bars empty because they're waiting for their freelancers to come in. We've maintained our salary just to make sure that we've got gills there.
I think that's a real big, that's a ball cruncher. To sit there and say we're going to keep the girls on and give them some salaries and keep them on, which is, listen, mate, it's a fantastic job that you're doing there, keeping them on and giving them some money, because the knock-on effect is, of course, they're feeding their families, they're feeding everybody up north, they're doing wherever they live, everybody's getting fed, and the knock-on effect is great. I'm going to go back to the bars in a second, but first of all, I want to talk about the great work you did. You was one of the people down the Soy 6, probably I think the only one down Soy 6, that did handing out the food, didn't you? You was doing the Nightwish group, were handing out a lot of food and helping a lot of people. I mean, where did that come from, Brian? How did that start?
Oh, it was funny because everything was just so miserable, and everything was hopeless, and I could barely walk. I couldn't drive my car, and I just thought I needed to cheer up a little bit. And I just said to my team, let's take 100,000 out of the safe to start with, and let's get some meals out there. And we started off with 400 on the first day, and then the next day we just increased it to 800. The third day it was 1,000. And then all of a sudden, guys were bringing cash in. And then we were like, okay, we'll just keep continuing it. And everyone said, get a GoFundMe page up. And I just said, I really don't want the abuse right now because I'm just in so much pain. And I thought, you know what? Just after the 18 days, we ran out of money. And then I think like 2 or 3 weeks.
But 18 days, Brian, 18 days. You did 18 days more than a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Some people didn't even do 1 day.
After the 18 days, after about 2 or 3 weeks, I just said, right, let's do it properly now. So I put a Go Get Funding website up, and then I said, let's get enough money, because it's about 20,000 baht a day. Let's get enough money for 3 or 4 days, and then let's get the ball rolling. So what I did is we did 48 days in total.
Which is amazing.
They kept on threatening to close the bars all the time. I didn't want to take too much money for the fundraising. So in the end, it's like we might open this weekend. Okay, I'll stop fundraising. And it's like, oh no, it's another week now. Okay, I'll fundraise a little bit. And in the end, I just thought, right, let's just pull the plug.
This was at the time when we were letting nobody open, wasn't it? I mean, this was just like closed, yes?
Yeah, the bars were just completely closed.
Yeah.
And no one knew what was going to go on.
I mean, I'm only guessing, that must have really hurt you. It's got to hurt you mentally, physically, financially when somebody does that, having that amount of bars.
Yeah, it does, but we've got quite a positive team around us, and I just felt sorry for some guys that just didn't have any savings at the time. And
there's a lot of them. We all know a lot of people that didn't have any money to fall back on, and still today, as we speak, it's mega hard for a lot of people, and we're all hurting in different ways. I mean, where do you see this going? I mean, you're saying optimistically, you're saying sort of December, January. You, Bobby, what are you saying? Sort of opening the doors.
I honestly don't have a clue.
But the first set of Chinese people arrived today.
Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
Oh, wow, that's big news, actually.
Well, it's not going to get Bry out of the shite, and it's not get us out of the shite, mate. 120 Chinese people. What's that going to do for us? 15 umbrellas in a bag.
Oh, it's movement. It's movement.
It's movement. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. I think there'll be a gradual opening, so it'll just be very slowly. And I'm hoping high season. December we start making. Even if we can just make a little bit, so we're not breaking even or losing money, then it's good. I mean,
if you can get to the stage where it's not costing you anything, and you're just making, say, just a little bit, and it's not costing you anything, it's survivable. But when you've got so many different things under your belt, and you're having to pay for these things day in and day out, which we all have, we've had it here ourselves. I mean, it becomes harder and harder and harder. What they have said is they're going to start to slowly, just to let you, to put you where you've just said, is over the next 45 days, they're going to drip feed Thailand with people. So hopefully it's going to go in the right direction, and hopefully they're up and running before December. Can you see that happening?
I really don't know. I look at the news all the time, and I'm just hoping that at least Asia starts coming in slowly, because, we can get by. I feel sorry for the restaurant owners that are specific for Farang food.
I mean, my friend's just come back from Phuket, Bobby. He's just been down to Phuket, yeah? And he said the whole place of Phuket in the town centre, there was one pizza place open. He walked in with his missus. He had to switch the aircon on for him, and he was the only couple in there.
Wow.
Yeah, there was one massage shop open and one 7-Eleven. Everything else is closed. Yeah, wow. And it's just like falling apart now, which is sad, because a lot of people made their businesses good or bad. It's like Pattaya. Pattaya's good and Pattaya's bad. I mean, there's a lot of good, and it's hurt a lot of people. And hopefully, somewhere along the line they'll start to come back. I mean, the knock-on effect of like giving food out to people. I mean, you feel sorry for them when you're handing out the food. I mean, I did it in Bangkok when the floods were there. You know, I was driving around the soys in a speedboat. Job. What I do like is, of course, you set up a few cameras down at the bars, haven't you? I mean, that's really cool. I looked at them today, and it was nice to see some people enjoying themselves.
Before we get into that, I'd like to acknowledge you, Brian, for that, the act of love that you brought to your soy and how you pretty much served that whole community down there and did that. That was amazing. I remember hearing about it and reading about it, and I was like, wow.
And I hated the people that said you were doing it for publicity.
That touched me.
Yeah, publicity stunt. I mean, that was totally wrong.
Totally wrong.
No.
The funny thing, what happened is that we've done a few events with our staff, and when I put the order in to do the front of the bar, they put Nightwish Group Living the Dream up there, and then I kind of seen the photo later, and people a few guys were like, oh yeah, that's inappropriate. But for our staff is that whenever we've been to events, they
helping each other is living the dream. Helping people live and survive and actually eat every day is actually a good
living
thing.
a dream.
Yeah.
Our staff just put these posters up. I mean, they don't probably read or
understand them
or just care.
Sure.
So the next day we just folded that bit up because people were saying it's inappropriate, but the other abuse we got is that people say about live feeds, and we told our news guy maybe we shouldn't do it, and he said they love it most of the times. They don't care. They're just they're there eating. So people saying, oh yeah, you're just showing them off. It's those live feeds were designed for people to donate. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't designed for any other reason. It's look at these real people. They're coming down to eat. And then people said, the reason why we're donating is we're seeing you spend the money because they don't normally trust people. And we did about 60,000, 52,000 meals or something.
Wow.
And then we did 800 dry packs, which were about 100 baht each. Wow. And then we went out to different areas in Bong, just giving out nappies and some drug supply.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people that find anything negative in that just need a kick in the arse.
There are lovers and there are haters, man.
Yeah, but
it's just the way the world is.
Finding a negative in that, I mean, they just need a kick in the arse, don't they?
The other good positive is our cashiers. We had about 30 of them, and they were bored every day, and they said they want to do the food again because I was concerned about them, and at least they got to hang out all day, and they got free food and a bit of money. So.
Good for you, and
you definitely boosted the morale of this community here.
You gave people hope. It's as simple as that. And if you can, listen, if you give out one meal and it saves one person's life, you've done your job. It's as simple as that. But to do it on that scale, it's great.
And my dad gave out 5,000 packs as well, which was quite funny because I couldn't help him because my chest was still tied together, and he was doing 100 packs a day, just putting all the stuff in for children.
Nice.
Wow.
But we carry on supporting each other, and now we do have to support each other. And if the people in Pattaya are listening right now, if you've got a business or wherever you are, I mean, the time now is to forget what happened in the past. Forget stabbing people in the back. Say something to their face. Say it and work together, because the only way that Pattaya is going to get back on its feet is working together, not working against each other like some of us used to do. And I just think that we all need to club in, do what we can together, support each other, and bring Pattaya to back to what it used to be, and and better. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think it's going to bounce back, and it's going to bounce back hard, and there's going to be some good momentum there. That's what I think.
I think this is a wake-up call for a lot of people in Pattaya, a lot of people in Thailand, and a lot of people in the world, and we're all learning from this. And it's bringing people closer together. One thing it has done, of course, is brought people together closer in times of trouble. It always does. When the good times roll, nobody gives a shit. But when it's bad times, everybody wants to give everybody a hug and help everybody. And I think that's where we are now.
And there's some great opportunities out there right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good staff available in Bangkok, and there's a lot of businesses that are for sale.
Good. So there we go. It's a buyer's market as well. So, but like I said, I think there's a lot of good coming out of it. Thank you for supporting us as well on Pattaya One, which you do on your websites, and we support you, and that's a really cool thing. And like I said, the webcam thing that you've done at the moment to show some people and the girls having a laugh, and it's nice to see people having a good time again and just laughing and joking, because for a lot of times I walked around Pattaya, and a lot of my friends did, and their faces, their mouths were on the floor. They were so sad, and it was so sad to see. It was very hurtful, and hopefully we'll get out of these times, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, the webcams are doing quite well, surprisingly. We do get a couple of guys attacking it, saying that, you're filming in the bar, but the bars are empty, and there's only a couple of expats here, and they're just filming in the corner, and it's not like there's a million views. There's 8 people online anytime.
Whatever. But listen. The way I say it is, if you get 1,000 comments and you take note of the 2 bad ones, then you're in the wrong game. Have you enjoyed it today? It's been okay?
Yeah, it's been good, yeah.
Good. Listen, it's been a pleasure to have you in the studio, okay? We wish you all the best from Paddy One and from Talking Heads. You're doing a great job. It doesn't matter what anybody says. We're all for it, aren't we, mate? We're going to go down Soy 6 when it opens, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We're gonna have we'll ring the bell or do something like that. Jump up and down. We need it. We need to get out more, don't we?
I've got a few ideas.
Okay, good.
I'm sure you have. Listen, you're a great guy. Thanks for coming in and supporting us.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for coming in and supporting us, and we'll do some stuff in the future, yeah?
Thank you.
Great. Brian Flowers in the studio. Thank you very much. And, of course, from Talking Heads for today, we're going to sign off for the weekend until Monday, aren't we?
We are.
Thanks a lot.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand with your host, Dave D.